Welcome back. It's 7:40 or roughly 20 to 8.
20 to 8.
Oh,
thank you.
Thought I'd translate
to
yes. Money. You're watching Breakfast on GB News with me and Stephen.
Let's take you through the papers this morning. We'll start with the Sunday Express. Welcome to Kiev, my friend. It's a story on the Prime Minister's visit to Ukraine.
Yeah, it's a picture that says it all, really, isn't it? Whilst there, Boris Johnson pledged new arms, including military vehicles and missiles, as The Observer also focuses on his surprise visit.
A full-scale NATO military force could be permanently deployed to defend the borders of Europe, according to plans revealed by the chief of the alliance. That's in the Sunday Telegraph. It says a sufficient presence is required to repel a Russian invasion.
The Mail says Rishi's on the brink as friends say he could quit to spare his family being dragged through the papers.
The Chancellor's wife has escaped 11 Downing Street, with the Times describing it as a goldfish bowl.
You'd think they'd have thought of that. It's time to go through the papers now, though. Joining us this morning, journalists Nabila Ramdani and Benedict Spence. So what are we starting with?
Oh, a bit of Sunday Express, Benedict.
Yes, very upbeat story. Biggest increase in homelessness in centuries. Okay. Yeah, it's not good, is it? But it's entirely predictable, given everything that's happened over the past couple of years, the pandemic, the economic impact of that, and now what we're seeing, cost of living crisis. As the Express says, this is Lord Bird, who's the founder of The Big Issue, writing the Express, says more than 16,000 families and children are being evicted from their homes every month. So it's not just rough sleepers that we're talking about. We're talking about sort of the systemic movement of people from their homes into far more precarious situations. And of course we all understand why this is. People are finding it much harder to meet their rents. Rents are actually going up. There's inflation to talk about. There is also the knock-on effect that we're seeing amongst young people, which is a generation of people who are renting permanently rather than being able to own their own houses, so have even less security.
There's generations of young people sofa surfing.
Yeah.
As well, which is it's one of those issues that something has to be done.
Yes,
and it's going to cost a lot of money. But
yeah,
nevertheless, it's got to be done.
Is it only a socialist government that would address this?
No, I don't think.
Nobody in the Tory government at the moment seems to be addressing this.
Well, I don't really know. The problem is, what can you do other than build more houses and sort of create a better economic environment? Now, the government, I'm sure, would say, well, we're doing our best, but are they really? A lot of people would say that, this government has not taken house building seriously. But actually, show me a government in the last couple of decades in this country that has taken, be it Labour or Conservative. This is, again, it's something that it doesn't seem to matter what side of the coin you are. A lot of that has to do with issues at a local level, local councils preventing people from building houses, preventing sort of a return to industrialisation, finding more jobs for people. So you do have to look at it in the round. You can't just say that it's a central government issue. Local government, councils, everybody has to take their share of responsibility.
There's a heck of a lot of home building going on near me, and I'm a sort of rural Oxfordshire area, which sounds very posh. And you think, oh, this is good. There is actually some house building going on, but they all seem to be very expensive houses.
Yeah, well, of course, there's not very much money to be made in affordable housing, especially with inflation.
And that's government intervention.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. You do need governments, local councils stepping in to say, no, this isn't acceptable. You can't simply build property for the sake of increasing the value of the property, which ultimately seems to be the only motivation for house building in this country at the moment.
I got stopped by someone outside my local town centre last week. And you meet people all the time, don't you, who are homeless, and I always try and stop and talk to them. This was a young man, I don't know, 19, 20, and he was desperate. He was absolutely, he wasn't just asking for money, he was desperate. And I just found it really hard, really difficult, because it's just like, what on earth has happened with his family life? Never mind what job or money or income, what's happened with family life for him? It broke my heart.
It's incredibly sad, and meanwhile you also have stories in the papers about first private individuals going into space. So you would think you have so many chronic problems down here on Earth that all these, space tourism effectively seems all a bit irrelevant when individuals are prepared to pay literally astronomical sums.
See, that's what gets steam coming out of my ears. I love anything to do with space, and I'd love to go up and to visit the International Space Station if I could. But when you hear that people have been paying $55 million for a ticket up there, you think, if you've got that much money, at the moment, shouldn't you be doing something more worthwhile with it?
Let's look at the Sunday Telegraph, Nabila, and the French elections. Interesting your take on this, and where Marine Le Pen could fall. I mean, there is a chance at least that she could win.
Yes,
Or get through to the next round, at least.
Yes, well, today is the first day of voting in the first round of the French presidential election. There's an interesting story here in the Sunday Telegraph about how young voters are shifting towards a Marine Le Pen vote, and which is actually giving her an unexpected election boost. There's a YouGov poll survey that has been conducted over the past week showing that 56% of those aged between 18 and 24 would vote for Marine Le Pen in the runoff. I have to say, I've just spent a week in France going to various meetings, including national rally meetings, of which Marine Le Pen is the leader, of course. And I've only seen elderly people, so they might not turn up at the meetings per se, but they might have sympathy for that view of the world. And to me, it seems to be going against the grain of what young people's attitude should be about believing in progressive ideas. We're talking about a party that was literally founded by soldiers fighting in the Waffen SS, and who, have a very distinct historical support for colonialism. And you think that young people might move away from such ideas in this day and age, but
it's a disillusioned youth, I think, a lot of it, and it's just kicking against the status quo, which I can understand. Look, sadly, we've got to leave it there, you two, for now, but you are going to be back a little bit later on. Nabila and Benedict, thank you.
Thank you.